Your name, your address, and your phone number are floating around the internet. Easy for strangers, scammers, and companies you've never heard of to find. Data brokers and shady databases collect and sell your private details to anyone willing to pay, putting you at risk of nonstop spam, scams, and fraud. You can't stop them from collecting data, but you can control who gets to keep it. That's why I use Incogni. They remove your private information from more than 420 of these sites automatically. And with their unlimited plan, you get total coverage. If you spot your personal details anywhere else online, just send them the link, and their privacy experts will get it taken down. It's the easiest, most complete way to protect yourself and personal life. Right now, you can lock in 60% off with my exclusive deal at privacykim.com. Go to privacykim.com right now and start protecting your privacy. This is so important. Privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com.
Welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of July 15th, 2023. Thank you for being a community member. Here's hour one.
All right, I always like to kick things off with something super interesting. And if you're a guy or a gal in a relationship, there's always that thought, what would our babies look like? Would they be beautiful? Would they be ugly? Well, first of all, I think all babies are just gorgeous. But if you want to know for sure, guess what? There's now an app for that. It's called Remini. And it's going super viral. And to try it out, you just download it from your favorite app store for your phone. And then there's something called the AI photo generator. And that's where the baby making magic happens. So what you do is you select 8 photos, at least 8 photos. If you can do 10 or 12, that's better, of you and your significant other. And then suddenly, poof, you see exactly what your little cherubs are going to look like. Now, here's the deal. I'd make a joke about the app, but you probably read it before, get it, read it, or, oh, I know, tough crowd. Hey, listen, it's going to get better, I promise. Oh, about that app, just want to let you know, it's free for 3 days. So, and after that, guess how much it costs? You ready for it? $10 a week. Oh my gosh, $10 a week. So make sure that you definitely cancel and you remove the app within those 3 days. Hey, listen, I'm Kim Komando, of course, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you. It's the biggest show. It's the best show. It's the most trusted show about all things digital. And get ready to boost up that tech game, because tech is the secret sauce in everything that we do. And if you're a first-time listener, a big friendly welcome to you. And if you're a regular listener, hey, welcome back. You know what? I missed you. I know that I haven't seen you all week. We're just thrilled to have you with us. And of course, the ride is on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And I'm streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando, of course. But if you're looking for a podcast or webcast without commercials, that's when you head over to the Komando community. And there's this big, shiny yellow button in the upper right-hand corner, and you just sign up there. And you get a free trial for 30 days, and after that, it's just a few bucks a month. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving over 375,000 U.S. service members in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. Get the Kim Komando Show. And to everybody who I met in the Coast Guard a few weeks ago who said, I listened to you, love that. And a big salute again goes out to you guys and gals. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open. I'm sure you have a few questions about something digital in your life that I can lend a hand to. And it's 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too shy to come on a big-time show and podcast, hey, I get that. You can always drop me your questions over on the website. And that button is called Email Kim. See, some things in tech actually make sense. All right. Every single day, I just scour the web. I go to at least 30 different websites to make sure that we're both up to date on everything that's happening in the techverse. And this is part of the show where I like to tell you about 5 things you need to know. And we're going to start with the most wonderful time of the year. No, I'm not talking about Christmas in July. Well, almost. Amazon Prime Day. It was this past week, and they had low prices on just about everything. Now, it has become one of the biggest shopping events of the year. It's actually almost a national holiday, I think. All right, maybe we should get days off. It was July 11th and 12th. So guess how much people spent on Amazon those 2 days. Now, remember, we are in the middle of, we still have inflation. Some people are still talking about recession. People are losing jobs. How much have we spent? $12 billion. Oh my gosh, that's up 6% from last year. Another surge is the buy now, pay later. That was almost $1 billion for Amazon. 7% of all purchases were buy now, pay later. So the top selling item, you ready for it? Appliances, then housekeeping electronics. But what was the top selling item of all? You ready? Temptations cat treats. Okay, cat treats. That's right. Next up was the Amazon Fire Stick and then Liquid IV. So what you can discern of all of this is that Amazon Prime members, they love their cats. They watch TV a lot. And they need a cure for hangovers. All right, moving on to number 2, an unbelievable story about an Amazon delivery driver and a Ring doorbell. Wow, you got to listen to this. While a guy was delivering a package to a Baltimore customer, the Amazon driver claimed that when he rang the Ring doorbell, he was greeted with a racist slur. And without notifying the customer, Amazon just said, okay, we're just going to cut you off of everything. So they shut down the customer's doorbell, security cameras, his Amazon Echo account, for about a week. So security footage proved that it was the doorbell itself that spoke to the driver, and that racist slur, it was, "Excuse me, can I help you?" And the Amazon driver was wearing earbuds at the same time. So now the homeowner says he's reevaluating his whole reliance on Amazon, and I just hope that Amazon driver got a kick in the pants for that. Number 3, talking about the heat. It's a heat wave. And I live in Phoenix, as you well know. And they were smack dab in the middle of our summer. And then I read this report about what if there was a 2-day blackout in Phoenix, Arizona? What would happen? Well, the results are pretty startling. They say that about 800,000 folks are going to end up needing medical help. And the problem in the Phoenix area is that there's only 3,000 hospital beds. But blackouts happen all across the country. And so what you want to do is make sure that you are totally prepared. You know, have an emergency kit ready to go, things like flashlights, battery-powered hand crank radios, first aid kits, a cooler, any meds that you take for a week, and beer. Yes, lots and lots of beer. Moving on to number 4, it's a new sensation. That's right. If you had to pick one piece of tech that you just got so totally frustrated about, what would it be? Would it be your computer? Would it be a printer? Well, now across the country, people are opening what they're calling rage rooms. That's right. For a minimum of $120, you can spend 30 minutes breaking things to your heart's content. And you know what the most popular item for people to destroy? You know what it is? It's a printer. That's right. The Washington Post, they wrote a whole report about this, and going all Hulk smash on a printer can be dangerous. In fact, some local governments are saying you can't smash printers because they got a lot of stuff on the inside. Even the old printers might have some lead, mercury, and other toxic materials. Definitely something that you don't want around, which reminds me of a joke that you're going to want to tell your family members and friends. You ready for it? What did the printer say when it ran out of paper? What did the printer say when it ran out of paper? Anyone? Oh, sheet. That's right. And finally, this coming in, a day in the life of the baby. That's right. It's a little game. Seems to be happening all over TikTok. It's called A Day in the Life videos, and they're catching on big time. And some show a day in the life of dogs, some people with like really unique jobs. There's a guy on YouTube, not on TikTok, by the way. I don't know if you've checked him out, but he's in Atlanta, and all he does is he drives his tow truck around. Barry was telling me about it. He's like obsessed with watching this guy drive a tow truck around Atlanta, and I guess maybe he needs another hobby. Anyway, let's go back to TikTok. Babies are the big thing on TikTok, baby videos. Parents are providing this voiceover, pretending to know exactly what the little munchkin is thinking, and they toss in some salty language here and there. One baby TikToker, Kaylee Varney, has over 500,000 followers, hanging on to her every word about her 4-month-old Isla girl. I don't know. What about privacy? What is privacy? Speaking of babies and computers, what does a baby computer call its father? What does a baby computer call its father? Anyone? Data. Yes, data. I know. That was a rough one, too. I promise they're going to get better. Stick with me. Hey, if you're not already getting our newsletters, I want to make sure that you sign up right now. Head over to getkim.com and join over 400,000 folks who get our newsletters every single day for TechSmart. You're going to love them, let me tell you. And rolling out soon, we have the afternoon life hack, so you don't want to miss that. Be a VIP right now and sign up over at getkim.com. You ever sit back and wondering, like, why the heck did I get that particular ad on Facebook or Google or Amazon? And how did they know that I would be so interested in that? How are they targeting me? Okay, well, the answer is yes, algorithms, tracking, data, advertisers. And then you may not know this, but they're actually bidding on your data. They're bidding on the opportunity to present you the ad. And how is it done so quickly? So all of a sudden that when you hit that Facebook page, that Google page, in a nanosecond, that ad for hiking in Patagonia that you were just thinking about or dreamt about is suddenly there on the screen. Okay. Well, joining us to talk all about this is an investigative data journalist for The Markup, John Keegan. When I read this story, I thought, oh my gosh, you guys and gals just have to know what's going on behind the scenes. John's recent piece is called How Your Attention is Auctioned Off to Advertisers, and he really explores this in depth. So we're going to talk about it, but that doesn't mean if you don't want to know more, you should actually go hunt down this article and read it. So, John, thanks for being here. Really wonderful investigative piece that you did. And you know, we both know that there's this auction war going on behind the scenes, but what does that process look like for the advertiser?
So imagine, for instance, what's happening is you're browsing a news website and you come across an article you want to click on. Let's say, for example, you had a family member that was going through some depression, okay? And you wanted to help them out. Maybe you've been doing some Google searches recently looking for information about this. And while you click on that link, just milliseconds before the page even loads, a signal is sent out to ad platforms that says there's an advertisement opportunity here on this webpage. A little bit of information about the device is sent along, and a real-time auction happens to place that ad. So this is happening all in the blink of an eye. Multiple bidders are going to be looking at that information about you and about the article that you just clicked on, and will decide whether they're going to spend a lot to get that ad in front of you. Now, if you had already been searching for depression, you might already have been put into a bucket of people with an interest in depression. And that means that, say, a pharmaceutical company looking to get ads in front of people who are interested in this topic might want to pay a premium. So they would place the highest bid, and that ad gets delivered, and it all happens in the blink of an eye.
And I think so that if we could bring it down to maybe an example that people might know is that, say you want to buy a stock and you go on your Fidelity account, whatever it is, you know, Morgan Stanley, whatever it is. And then you say, I'm going to buy this stock when it hits $12.30 a share. And so you don't have to do anything. It's all automated. And when the advertisers are doing this, do they say like how many people they want to reach, say in that example with depression?
Well, what they're trying to do is advertisers basically don't want to waste any money on ads that are irrelevant to people. Okay. So we've all had the process sometimes of when we're surfing the web, we come across an ad, or like, why am I seeing this ad? It has nothing to do with me. And other times you see ads that are really dialed in. You're like, wow, that's creepy. I am planning a trip to this location soon, right? So the difference you're seeing there is when targeted advertising is actually being used to great effect. The advertisers may not have a specific quantity in mind, but they want to know not just that you are, say, interested in depression, but maybe a little bit more about you. So advertisers want to know not that you just bought a certain brand of chips. They want to know what your motivations were. What else were you buying in your supermarket shopping cart that day? What job do you have? How do you vote? What stores do you go to? This paints a fuller picture, and it also allows them to use artificial intelligence to kind of model audiences, people who might be likely to be interested in one topic or another.
So how many different data points do you think these advertisers can clue in about a person in order to really say, they're going to be going to Home Depot this weekend because they're going to start remodeling the kitchen. So I want to show them some designs and to really put some maybe Kohler brands in front of them. So when they get there, they check out those faucets versus something else.
Yeah, that's a really good example. That includes a lot of interesting aspects. It could be your Google searches. It could be previous visits to, say, a place like Home Depot that you've been to on a regular basis. All of those clues are used to predict whether you're going to be a person who's going to respond to that ad. And then they measure, did you see the ad? Did you click on it? Did you pause while scrolling? all those little signals get fed back into this loop, and they use it to refine these models continuously.
So how do the advertisers get this information? Is it a culmination of where we each have a digital avatar somewhere in the cloud that keeps track of every little bit and thing that we do online and offline, and then they can maybe fine tune that and say, this is the personality, these are the top characteristics that we need, even down to the zip code?
Yeah, as I was saying before, there's literally thousands of these little data points out there. It may seem like there's one giant file with all of your information in there, but it's really not like that. There are hundreds of companies in this space, and they're constantly taking information from all of these different aspects where your data touches a company. So, for instance, when you shop at the supermarket, when you're driving around in your connected car, when you're waiting in line to vote, these and using apps and doing web searches, all of those are real examples where this information gets collected, analyzed, and associated with you. Now, your name might not be there, but your name is actually not that great of an identifier. There's lots of people with common names, but the constellation of data points that you particularly have, the routes you drive, the things you buy, the information that you seek out online, that is extremely identifying. All these companies claim that they aggregate this information or they anonymize it so it can't be traced back to you. But we actually know from research that location data and shopping data in particular are extremely distinct and can be used to re-identify individuals. So there's a big privacy element here.
Sure.
I know there's a lot of privacy fatigue. People are kind of like, I'm being tracked everywhere. But this stuff does matter, and especially now as a lot of the laws in the United States have changed recently, women seeking reproductive health, for instance, now this stuff actually has legal ramifications. So the ground changes frequently.
All right, John, here's the scoop. We need to hit the pause button for just a super tiny commercial break. Why? Because, well, we have a lot of bills to pay, okay? But don't worry. When we get back to our chat, what I want to do is dive headfirst, if it's okay with you, in the nitty gritty of the data that these companies have on us. Because, you know, it's said that we just have this infinite amount of data that these big tech companies are tracking about this, and these advertising companies. But not just that. I want to tackle about how we can give that data the old heave-ho. We can get rid of the data that they have collected on us. So I want you to stay with us. Now, folks, this is important information that you're not going to get anywhere else. And this reflects on the privacy, or the lack of privacy, rather, that we have in our lives. So you want to stay right with us here with the Kim Komando Show. Don't leave us now. All right, if you're just joining the convo in the show, we've been speaking with John Keegan. He's an investigative data journalist for the site The Markup. And we've been talking about big tech and marketing companies who just collect this infinite amount of our personal details, and then they gather it all together and they sell it off to the highest bidder. So now, John, I want to dive into this whole idea of our personal data for sale. I want to go a lot deeper. Now, you wrote about Xandr, which I found fascinating. Explain that to our listeners, and then tell us what you found in your research.
Sure. Xandr is an advertising platform that is owned by Microsoft, and they bought them from AT&T in 2021. This is a company that serves kind of both ends of the advertising industry, both advertisers and publishers who have to run the ads to make some money, right? And so Xandr, they have on their website a place where they were kind of sharing information about this data marketplace they have. They bring in data from 93 different data suppliers, so wow. Advertisers can take their pick from different buckets of users. So security researcher Wolfie Crystal pointed this file out to us and said, hey, you should take a look at this. It turned out to be 650,000 of these audience segments. These are wow. basically buckets of users. So maybe they could be things like, millennials who like to go on vacation, or Dunkin' Donuts, regular visitors. But it can also be sensitive information, like people who frequently buy pregnancy test kits, or people who are prone to depression. So these are all examples of things that we found thousands of those sensitive segments, which we were surprised to see.
So how accurate do you think that data was or is?
That's a great question. One thing that we were, after talking to experts and showing them what we found, a lot of them reminded us this is a business that involves marketing and branding, business to business. So if you're a data company and you have this collection of users, you're going to make it sound as attractive as possible to advertisers. So it may not be as accurate as it seems. We saw some about personality traits, and those we actually looked back, and they were kind of like a personality test you might take to get a coupon. They weren't like some super smart algorithm that was deriving all the data points in your life. It was literally people who go through and pick a picture that represents a vacation they want to take. So it may not be as accurate as it sounds.
Or those ones on Facebook, what's your spirit animal? So, not a snake, just say not a snake. Can anybody just hop on and use these platforms like Xandr?
Not really. They're made for businesses who are in the advertising industry. But users can explore some of this data that we have on our website. We built a nice little search tool where you can type in any topic, and it will show you all the audience segments that we found in the file related to that. And I promise you, something in your life will show up in there, because it's amazing how granular this industry is. We've been packaged up and branded by these ad companies for advertisers in every aspect of our life.
Now, John, is there a place that somebody could see all the different data points, or if not all, say 80% of the data points that these advertisers know about them, and maybe say, I know that there's always been some type of movement to say we want to be able to remove what we don't want to have in this massive database of ourselves. Is there a place where you could actually see all this?
Yes, some Americans have the right to request this information. There's no federal privacy law in the United States like there is in Europe. Now, if you're a resident of California, Virginia, Connecticut, Utah just passed a bill, there are some strong state privacy laws on the book that give you the right to request a full copy of your data. It's not easy. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks. We had some readers trying to do this for a story, and some of them didn't get their data back. But when you do get it back, it is enlightening. I made a request to Experian, the credit bureau, for a copy of my data, and it was a pile of paper about this thick with every residence I've been at, every bank account I ever opened. But it had also the information of the buckets that it put me in based on my finances, politics, employment, everything. So I recommend readers to actually go try and do this. The big credit bureaus are a good place to start because they feed data out to so many different places in the ecosystem. And there's usually a link at the bottom of the page in their privacy policy, which tells people how they can go about request information.
Was there anything in there about you that you were like, whoa, what was that?
Not so much. It was, I think a lot of it was just, not that accurate. We had a reader who wrote into us after we did a story about Kroger supermarkets who requested his data from Food Lion. And his came back and said that he was in the economic category of tough times. And he was surprised by that. He's like, we do pretty well. He's like, I don't know why I was in that. The supermarket might have been a poorer area. But he was really kind of startled to see what group he had been put into without his knowledge.
Well, one time I looked at what Google thought about me. This goes back a couple of years. And it picked me as, it said, first of all, it said I was a male. Well, I assure you, I'm a female. But I think because of my topics of interest that includes, fast cars, guns, a lot of tech, a lot of science, and all of a sudden it just said, oh, well, this must be a guy. Which, no, Kim Komando, I'm not. I will tell you that. Hey, John, thanks for joining us. Again, this story is called How Your Attention is Auctioned Off to Advertisers. You can find that over at The Markup. Really enlightening things. And John, if you ever do anything else like this, you always have an open invite to come on back on the show, please.
Thanks for having me, Kim. I appreciate it. Nice talk.
You betcha. All right. This tip is about these genius commands that you can use with your phone that you may not be using. Like, for example, I just used this one the other day. is that when you're wondering, like, what is that airplane above me? And I'm not going to say the wake words for these devices because everybody's devices will go crazy. I'm just going to give you out the commands. Like, you just have to say, what flights are overhead? And then you see the carrier, the flight number, and altitude in just a few seconds. Now, what about the flashlight? Instead of fumbling around, just say, turn on the flashlight. And then you can also tell your phone, hey, turn off the flashlight too. Now, what if you are talking to somebody and they say, hey, let's get together next Tuesday? Or you think, wow, I need to have a nail appointment next Friday. Then you can just say, add to my calendar, and then give all the details. And then your assistant on your smartphone will just go ahead and do that. You can also set a timer. This is super handy when you're making, say, poached eggs or spaghetti or whatever it is, or you're trying to say, I'm not going to be picking up my phone for the next 10 minutes. You can just say, whatever the wake word is, set a timer. You can also silence your phone on your way into church. Just say, hey, silence my phone, and then that's it. Now, this is also handy. One that you may not have heard of is you can say, this wasn't for you. You say something, and then your smart assistant suddenly wakes up and says, what do you want me to do with that? And then what it will do is actually, when you say that wasn't for you or this wasn't for you, is that it will erase everything that you just said. Now, for links to these and some more instructions about if you need it, just hit the website over at komando.com. And don't forget, add the app RoboKiller to your phone, because by leveraging AI, it can block up to 99% of those pesky intrusions, examining each call to identify threats. Download the RoboCaller app from the iOS or Google App Store right now. And with code KIM20, you're going to enjoy a cool 20% discount. So join the millions who trust RoboKiller and say goodbye to all those unwanted texts and calls. All right, James in Houston, Texas.
Oh, hi, Kim Komando. What a pleasure and honor it is to speak to you. I've listened to you for a long time. You're wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you. I think you're pretty wonderful too, James.
Well, that's very kind of you. So my question is about surveillance. My wife and I are headed to a foreign country, and we will be working with the government in the Ministry of Education. But we were wanting to know, is there some sort of, how do we detect any surveillance devices that may be in the apartment that we provided for us, and something that we could either take or buy over there, just to either know if we're being watched, or maybe disable it, to scramble it, or just remove it.
So which country are you going to?
Uzbekistan.
Okay. I think my first call would be to talk to somebody at the embassy or consulate, just so that you know what type of laws will cover surveillance and counter surveillance in that country.
Okay, well, that's a good place to start. I didn't even think about asking the embassy.
Yeah, so I would start there just to make sure. I don't want you to violate any local customs rules, anything like that, okay? So that said, next, how do we find this stuff? Of course, physical inspections. But keep in mind that these hidden cameras can be in just about anything. Clock radios, even the remote control for the TV could have a hidden camera. Okay.
Well, we've been on your website, and so yes, we've learned some of those ingenious hidden places, like Kansas Soup and other things.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
A dehumidifier, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you that, because when you see those pictures, that's when you're like, whoa, they can put these cameras anywhere, right?
Would never have thought of that, right?
And so next, you want to use a flashlight. Dark areas and many lenses will reflect light that can help you find hidden cameras. There's also a device called an RF signal detector.
We've actually put that in our cart, Amazon cart, from your recommendation.
Perfect. Okay. Then what you want to do is when you get there, you want to look at the Wi-Fi network and look at the network itself. There are some apps that you can put on your phone, and it will tell you what devices are hooked up to that network. Now, that's not a fail-safe thing, but what you do is you look and see how many MAC addresses or how many different devices are on the Wi-Fi network. And then you can say, oh, well, I've got 3 and my lovely bride has 4. So there should be 7. Oh, wait, there's 10. What else could they be? Okay, maybe one's the television. Okay, maybe one is a smart speaker. Maybe whoever
refrigerator.
Maybe, yes, exactly. The Ring doorbell, or it goes on and on. So you start counting up all the devices.
I see.
One of the things that I have done, and I actually found some hidden cameras in a vacation rental this way, is that when I turned on the TV, is that I just kept scanning up the dial. And so you have, of course, your local channels, and then you have maybe your news channels, and you have your movie channels, and then you have your music channels, your pay-per-view channels. And if you keep going up, what I saw were cameras that were outside the vacation rental, although it wasn't disclosed to me that, and it didn't have to because they weren't inside, because it was a public area. It wasn't in a private area, so there was no reasonable expectation for privacy. But I was able to find those cameras that way. Now, of course, once you're there, you want to use maybe encrypted messaging apps, VPN, good password management, two-factor authentication, good things like that. But again, I'm glad that you have that in the cart, because I think that RF detector was something that I would definitely bring. But I just want you to make sure, like I said in the beginning, that you're not going to violate anybody's rules by doing this.
Sure. Now, it will detect wired connections or no? I mean, will it only detect wireless devices?
Well, the RF is a radio frequency signal that's being sent from the surveillance devices. Okay, so
I gotcha.
Okay, so that's going to be wireless. So as far as wired, that's where we're going to use an app and look at the different devices that are connected to the network.
I see.
So that this way we're going to add them all together. It's kind of a creepy thing that you even have to worry about this, quite frankly.
Yes. Yes.
Why are you concerned?
Well, since we're going over there, and we'll be, like I said, we're working with the government, but we just want to be careful. It's not necessarily that we've been told this, but we just want to be cautious. If we're going to a foreign country and going to live in government-provided housing,
sure, I
would rather know that it's clean than just presume that it's clean, or live in fear, wondering, are they listening? Are they watching? Well, and so we thought you might be able to at least offer some tips and some suggestions.
Well, so I think if you go through all that stuff, quote unquote, that we just talked about, I think that's great.
Yes.
And then I bet you that local consulate or embassy, they're going to have some information for you too about maybe you could ask them, has there ever been any experiences like this in the past that we need to be aware of? And just really get into their brain a little bit to see what else you can learn. And I'm glad that you have that in the cart. And if you need any other help after you speak to the consulate, just give me a call back. I'm always right here for you. Hey, if you're not already following us on social media, stop ghosting me. Head over to Instagram.com/KimCommando, Facebook.com/KimCommando, Twitter.com/KimCommando, Threads.com/KimCommando. Although I don't know what that whole deal with Threads is. I'm not convinced it's going to be the whole home run that a lot of these tech blogs are. But anyway, I'm at Kim Commando everywhere. All right. Advertisers, are notorious for watching what we do and where we go online, because that's how they make their money. But here's a secret that the online advertisers don't want you to know. Think of all those cookies that you leave, this trail whenever you're online. They can be useful, like, say, to remember what's in your shopping cart, but they can also be pretty invasive. So advertisers love cookies because they can help customize all the ads that you see. And if the ads appeal to you, makes sense, is that you're more likely to click on them, which gives them a higher return on investment. Okay, so now for the secret. You can opt out of advertising cookies. You have to go to this address, optout.aboutads.info. And I know that's a mouthful. I'll post it on our social media, but it's optout.aboutads.info. It's a mouthful. Again, just look at our social media and I'll put a link there. Hey, do me a solid. Tell 3 friends about the Kim Commando Show and podcast, because knowledge is power, and you can find me at Commando.com. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise: home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part? Most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
Thank you for listening. Here is hour 2.
Okay, I always like to start with something fun and interesting. And have you ever seen a flying saucer? Do you believe in those little green men? Well, if you live in this city in the United States, you might. Now, according to the National UFO Reporting Center, yes, there is such an institution, Spokane, Washington is the city in the United States with the most UFO sightings. Now, per 100,000 residents, 52 say that they spotted a UFO hovering above. Okay, second place goes to Tucson, Arizona. Third, Albuquerque, New Mexico. And the worst place to see a UFO, where would that be? Anybody? New York City, because it has too much light pollution. Now, I have never seen a UFO, I'll tell you that, because I'm always able to correctly identify those flying objects. That's why. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kim Komando. I'm America's beloved digital goddess here, hosting the biggest, the baddest, the best, most trusted show about all things digital. And get ready to supercharge your tech wisdom, because tech is woven into the fabric of everything that we have. And prepare to dive into my award-winning show. It plays on over 420 of the finest radio stations across the United States. And for all you streamers out there, simply pop Komando, my last name, into the search bar of your go-to radio app, and presto, I'll be right there for you. But if you're looking for a commercial-free podcast or webcast, just take a quick jaunt over to Komando.com and then look for that bright, happy, cheery yellow button in the upper right of the homepage called the Komando Community, and sign up there and you get 30 days free. And after that, it's just a few bucks a month. And a special shout out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and Space Force in 175 different countries. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just want to remind you, if you're too shy to come on a big-time radio show, a podcast, you can still send me your questions. I read every single one. Just head over to the official homepage of the Kim Komando Show. And in that upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim, and that's where the magic happens. Alrighty, every single day I go, all over the web, 30 different websites at least, just to make sure that we're both up to date on what's going on in the tech world. And here are 5 things you need to know right now. And we're going to start with a question. How much do you think humans disturb animals when we're out camping, hiking, or riding down a bike trail, or just making s'mores around the campfire? Do we really disturb the animals, and just how much? Well, in Wyoming's Bridger Teton National Forest, just gorgeous, by the way, researchers decided to find out. So they placed boom boxes and all types of cameras on game trails in the middle of the woods. And no, not to see if the bears are throwing raves or listening to yacht rock. They wanted to see how noise impacts the wildlife. So what they found is that whenever an animal triggered a motion-sensitive camera at one end of the trail, a boombox about 20 yards away would start playing human sounds. So they played recordings of hikers chatting or quietly walking, or large groups, small groups, mountain bikers. The results? Even the slightest human noise, almost a whisper, startled the animals. Large groups of mountain bikers were most likely to send animals like mule deer and elk just running. Small groups of hikers and bikers had a similar effect, but not as intense. As for folks who were quietly walking, this is the fascinating part. The animals, they paused and they listened, but they didn't take off. So if you want to see wildlife, just walk very quietly because they're more likely just to hang out. Number 2 on our list, Apple Card is going to give you 10% back for just a limited time. Just want to tell you about this because especially if you're buying apps or you're buying that next level of Candy Crush so you don't have to sit there and try to get and do it yourself. Last year, people spent $167 billion on apps. Wow. Isn't that just crazy? Now, if you're an iPhone owner, for the next 6 months, you could be getting 10% off on all those digital splurges when you whip out your new Apple credit card. Yes, it is a credit card, but before you grab your piggy bank and you start shaking it, the maximum payout is $100. But, might be worth it if you're buying a lot of stuff in the App Store. Moving on to number 3, Hasta la Vista, baby. This is great for all you listeners that have a motorcycle. You may remember Terminator 2. Think back. Arnold Schwarzenegger cruising with those awesome sunglasses on over roads, laser precision, taking down those villains. Well, we can't actually become that yet, but BMW has released the BMW Connected Ride smart glasses. These are actually really cool. They have a heads-up display built right into the lens, and you put these suckers on and you have your speed, which gear you're in, the outside temperature, the speed limit, everything's right in front of your eyes. And then in addition to that, you get turn-by-turn navigation all while riding your motorcycle. And they pair up with your smartphone, the BMW app, which, by the way, it works on other motorcycles aside from just BMW. But then you have everything just right there in your display for safer rides. It's not going to help you track down Skynet, but a lot of fun on that next ride. Moving on to number 4, keep the rom-coms coming. Life is filled with changes, right? You dump your ex, you get married again, your family grows. And last year, Netflix introduced something called the Profile Transfer Tool during its whole crackdown on password sharing. So if you were using, let's say, your ex's Netflix account, you didn't live with them anymore, you could take your profile and everything that you watched and transfer it over to a new account. But here's the thing. If you hooked up with someone new, got a place with some roommates, and you're still using that ex's account, you were kind of stuck. Well, bottom line now is that Netflix has a new way that lets you switch your Netflix profile over to an existing account. So if you're stuck in that Netflix land, just keep in mind you can pop over to the profile transfer tool. You punch in your Netflix email and password, and then that's it. You're just binging again. And finally, this number 5. Wow. This is the headline. 18-year-old unboxes a $200,000 knife in a video game. Counter-Strike Global Offensive. It's a really popular first shooter game, and it's basically the chess of the esports world. It's fiercely competitive. It has this huge player base all around the globe. Now, in the game, you get these things called cases. They're like virtual treasure chests, and they hold all kinds of digital items you can use to trick out your weapons. You can earn them, you can buy them, you can trade for them, the whole shebango. They can run you hundreds of dollars. But you have no clue what's inside this virtual treasure chest, so it's kind of risky. But there are times when someone strikes gold, and that's that 18-year-old kid I was telling you about. So he cracks open a case, and inside is a knife with a blue gem skin sporting a 387 pattern. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but apparently it's really big inside the game. It's extremely rare. And depending upon the knife's condition, it's worth $200,000. So the kid told PC Magazine he's already been offered $150,000 for the knife, but he's quoted as saying, $200K, like, that don't really help out my parents for a virtual knife. $200,000. Whoa. That's just, I don't know. I don't understand that. Hey, if you're not already signed up for our great newsletters, I want you to join 400,000 folks and sign up right now while you're thinking about it. Head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. You may not be aware of this, but there's actually a big market for thieves. Golf gear, yes, it's just super expensive. And it turns out that they're super easy to steal. So for the Briarwood Golf Course in Sun City, Arizona, it has become a problem. Now, the course's general manager, Phil Styka, says that last Sunday, 12 club sets were stolen. I mean, talk about a bummer. And people, let me tell you, golfers love their clubs. I mean, they adore their clubs. I mean, they select the right putter. How do I know this? Because I'm a golfer. Okay. I'm not a very good golfer. I will tell you that, well, I cheat every once in a while. I mean, but I'm honest about it. I mean, if somebody says, was that a par 5? And I'm like, yes, I got a 4, of course. And I will tell you a funny story. Is that I was actually at the Arizona golf course and I was playing with some family members. And afterwards, the manager came over and said, oh my gosh, Kim Komando, you are such a great golfer. Would you like to play in the celebrity tournament? And I'm like, no, I can't. But so as a golfer, you actually watch all your golf clubs. I did confess that I did cheat just a little bit. So when you want to keep track of your gear, what are you using? You're using AirTags. Well, Phil is super smart because he's like, hey, you know what? He found out that a few of the golfers had their clubs stolen, actually had Apple AirTags in their bags. So he decided to take matters into his own hands. He managed to get the clubs back and then get a few criminals arrested. So Phil's joining us right now, and I'm so excited that you're here. Phil, first of all, how big is the problem with golf clubs getting stolen?
Well, hi, Kim. First of all, it's nice to be on your show, and I wanted to say that there is an epidemic across the Valley of Phoenix and around the country. It's a quick, easy grab and go. They're $2,500 to as much as $5,000 in a bag, and they can grab it, throw it in the trunk, and take off.
So tell us a story about what happened at your course.
Well, at our course, we had somebody actually break into where we store our golf clubs, our members' golf clubs, in a storage area. They came in through a back wall. They cut through a barred entry area and came in and just started unloading different sets of clubs out through the back door and escaped with them.
How much do you think all that gear was worth that they stole?
Oh, we're looking at least $25,000 worth of equipment in about 10 minutes.
Wow, that's crazy. That's amazing. So how are you able to track the criminals down?
Well, I get a call in the morning, and they said, hey, we had a break-in in our bag storage. So I drove down to the club, and one of our members was there. He happened to say, I happen to have this AirTag, and being in Sun City West, we have some elderly people, and this was new to him. He recognized how it would work, but didn't know exactly what to do with it once he needed it. I said, take a screenshot, send me that picture. I'm going to go to the address. So
you did?
I took off driving. Yeah, I just, I felt sorry for this guy because I could tell, golfers get fitted for every club they have in the bag.
Yeah.
So it is a personal thing. So I just took off across the city here. I went from Sun City West all the way to South Phoenix. And started looking for what could have been an area where these clubs were being stored. I just happened to see a car in the street that was parked behind the house that the address was coming up where the clubs were located. And in the car, I could see through the window, it looked like something was stacked in the back of a Jeep Cherokee. And I got up and went and looked in it, and there I see my member's name on the bag tag.
What'd you do next?
Well, being smart, I went and called the police. I said, told them I've been working with the MCSO sheriffs in Sun City West. I am in South Phoenix right now. I've located the bags, and if we could get some officers out here, because the people had now, right in the middle of the call, they actually came out and they started to leave. And so then the police had to try to beat them out of the neighborhood. They didn't quite get there, and we had to keep tracking them on the AirTags.
Boy, I wish you would have called the police first. I would be scared for you that something would have happened.
Well, I would have called the police first if I would have known where the clubs were located.
I see.
Not knowing where they were, I had to locate the clubs. Once I located the bags, I right away called the police, said this is where they're located, gave the address, license number, and that type of thing. But
boy, that's amazing. I mean, it's incredible, really. Did the police give any inclination that this was something that they've been doing on a regular basis?
They've said that they have been doing a lot with AirTags for a lot of different things: stolen cars, stolen golf carts, stolen bicycles. They've also had people who have illnesses such as dementia or Alzheimer's. People will keep track of their parents in case they were able to get out of the house or disappear. So they're very common within the police to know what's going on. Unfortunately, with the MCSO, we know where they are. If they're inside a house, they're going to have to get search warrants and those types of things before they could ever really make entry.
So what did the members say when you got their clubs back?
Oh my gosh, they were just so happy. We had one gentleman that was really happy because this was the second set of clubs. He had lost a set of clubs someplace else, and he had a brand new set. So obviously, this was one that they went to pretty quickly and grabbed. And he had tears in his eyes that he actually got his clubs back. He was looking forward to play.
Well, such a great story, really, and a simple Apple AirTag was able to identify where all these clubs were located. Thanks for joining us and telling us the story.
I was happy to join you. Thank you.
Anytime. So these are Apple AirTags, these little quarter-sized devices that you can put on anything or on a person. And using the Find My app on your iPhone or iPad, that you're able to identify the actual physical location. Now, I did get a note from somebody recently who said, "Oh, Kim Komando, you need to tell people it only works if you're within 250 feet of whatever got lost." That's not the case. It doesn't work like that. It works on cellular triangulation and also works on different eye devices in order to pinpoint that precise location. Anyway, you can find them up on Amazon or on Costco or Sam's Club. They sell for $100. And by the way, if you're on Android or another type of device, instead of Apple AirTags, you're going to be wanting to look at Tile trackers. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about big files, how you can send them without the hassle. This is just a great tip because we all create these stunning videos and presentations and graphics, but it comes with a catch. You have large files that maybe can't be easily shared. So what do you want to do when you have this big file and you got to get it from point A to point B? Well, one way is to use a file transfer site like WeTransfer. You go to their website, you upload the file, the video, whatever, and then you enter your buddy's email address. And then WeTransfer will send your friend an email with the link to download the video. Now, of course, another way is to use a compression tool like WinZip or 7-Zip. But if you want to get those large files out of your email for good, which is my preference, you want to use Dropbox or Google Drive. This is a great option, especially if you want to share that big file with multiple people. You just upload the file to Dropbox or Google Drive. You share that link with anyone you want. Bingo, bango, it's done. All right, now we're going to dive into the enthralling universe of a very busy Reddit community called Am I the A-Hole? It's a energetic cyber nook where people bear their deepest dilemmas and secrets, and they unfold life's captivating instances, all while seeking an answer to a timeless question: who really is to blame? So then the whole Reddit community, it steps in, they cast their votes until the ultimate conclusion is arrived. Is the person to blame or not? So once a week, I deliver a fresh post for your consideration, and then the judgment falls upon your shoulders. Are they or are they not an a-hole? But wait, there's more, because we have a special guest contestant and ready to embrace the challenge, because this person wants the ultimate reward. Yes, it's a much coveted Kim Komando Show fanny pack. Yes, it's beyond any valuation. And joining us right now is John in San Francisco, California. Hi there, John.
Hi, how are you, Kim?
Good. What do you do there?
I'm a photographer here.
Excellent. Excellent. I bet you can take a lot of crazy photos in San Fran these days, huh?
I try to stay out of there for my safety and everything else.
That's awesome. All right. So I'm going to read you a situation, and then it's up to you to say, is the person an a-hole or not? Okay, you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
So this woman writes, I'm at the airport. The lady 2 seats behind me on the flight was speaking extremely loud in the entire flight. I had my earbuds in, and it was just piercing my ears. After the flight landed, the woman across from the aisle looked at me terrified, and she said, oh my gosh, I think they're on our next flight. So we got off the flight, we walked back by the gate, and I said to the couple, hey, you guys are flying to Florida next, right? Well, you might want to consider being a little more quiet on your next flight, because I had my earbuds in and I could hear you screaming the entire time. So I turn around, and then this woman's boyfriend says, yeah, okay, you're just a jerk face. So I turned back and I said, what did you just say? And he said, I said, you're just a jerk face. And then the girl chimes in. She says, I don't know what you're talking about. We were not even speaking loudly. So I showed them my earbuds in my hand, and I said, listen, I had earbuds in my ears 2 seats ahead of you, and I know all about Frank's wedding, your nail appointment that you didn't get, how hard it is to feed the dogs, how high your cell phone bill is, and I even know all the TV shows that your mom is watching. So I'm asking you, Am I the a-hole for talking to this couple and asking them to keep it quiet on the next flight? What do you think, John?
My answer would be no, you're not.
I agree. We've all been there, right? You're like, oh, gosh. It's like, can you just keep it down? Or how about the person sitting next to you having a phone call the whole flight? Stop that, please. All right. So John says she's not. Let's see what the Reddit community says. That's right. You won the fanny pack. Yes. Woohoo. My solution, noise canceling headphones. Noise canceling headphones. Nothing like them when you're on a flight. All right. So, John, you have a question for me. How can I lend a hand?
I do. I am interested in a voice assistant like the Google Assistant or Siri, but I don't want to use those because I know firsthand after being a contractor at Google what they do with all that data. So I've been looking for a voice assistant that doesn't share data or sell data, but is a effective assistant. Like if I'm driving and I can say, text so-and-so and let them know I'll be late, or if I'm cooking, my hands are dirty, I don't want to touch my phone. So I'm not looking for something like ChatGPT, but something that can make my phone function without compromising my data.
Yeah. You know, there aren't a lot of options, as you might imagine, because you have Google. And then if you don't want Google, you get Siri. If you don't want Siri, you have Amazon Alexa. And if you don't want that, well, Microsoft's bringing Cortana back. You know, it's just like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
You know, and it's all the tracking that just keeps going on and on. There used to be actually two options, but now there's only one. It's called Hound by SoundHound. And it's an app. You can use it to send messages, make calls. Like you said, if you've got chicken on your hands and somebody calls, you don't want to touch the phone with all that stuff on there. You can set reminders. It is free. It has in-app purchases. So it's probably going to run you about anywhere between 10 and maybe $12 a month by the time you look at which features that you want. But the only data that's actually linked to you is your contact information and any identifiers that you give them when you set up the account. So what's not linked to you is your location and your history, your archives, your search history, any content that you generate, any usage content. Again, it's called Hound by SoundHound. There used to be another one called Mycroft AI. And it seems like this company has kind of shifted gears, though. Because last time I looked at their website, the only thing that they're selling is a smart speaker that is not tied to big tech. So it used to be an open source virtual assistant that they were trying to make privacy focused. And open source, of course, means that, you know, it can be expected by anybody for any type of hidden data collection, but that's not the case anymore. So really, you just have one option, which means that if you're listening and you want to create a competitor, maybe there's a market for it. But again, it's called Hound by SoundHound. And thank you for your call today, John. And if you do me a favor, after you take a look at it and you use it, let me know what you think. And again, it's called Hound by SoundHound. You can find it in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. All right, so for our money tip, let's talk about your car. It's just sitting there in the driveway, in the garage, costing you money. Okay, we might as well take those four wheels and turn that into cash. So here are some ways. Okay, number one is the obvious choice, rideshare. Uber and Lyft are definitely at the top of the rideshare game. And it's worth considering if you enjoy driving and if you're truly a people person. Now, many drivers do it outside a 9-to-5 drive. Just think of all the folks who need a ride home, say on a Friday night or on a Saturday night. How much can you make? Well, they say anywhere between $15 and $22 an hour. Okay, next up, wrap the cars. You've seen them on the street. Car wrapped in giant advertisements. It actually pays pretty well to wrap your car. You can make anywhere between $100 and $450 per month. Maybe that's enough to just wipe out the car payment. Now, of course, the car advertisements are dependent upon how often you drive, how many miles, and where you're located. So just keep that in mind that your so-called mileage may vary. Next on our list is try your hand at delivery. People are ordering packages, meals, you name it, all day long. Names like DoorDash, GoPuff, Amazon Flex. There's also Instacart. Now, I do want you to be careful. Amazon and other delivery companies, they have aggressive delivery timelines. So you need to be on your A game. Amazon says flex drivers can make between $18 and $25 an hour. Now, they recently just added a new side note to this, is that if you are a local bakery, florist, you have a local something that you deliver around town, is that you can sign up for an Amazon Flex delivery account, and Amazon's going to pay you. What they're going to do is they're going to drop all the packages off at your front door that need to go out in your route, and then you just deliver them as you're going about delivering flowers or balloons or whatever it is, and then you get to make more money. Now, you can also do the grocery shopping. I use this almost every single day. There's also Instacart, DoorDash, and Shipt. They're pretty popular. You can expect to make anywhere between $10 and $25 an hour. Now, you can also move things, right? You put your truck or your SUV to use. TaskRabbit and GoShare are pretty good options. Now, GoShare says that delivery drivers can make, listen to this, up to $168 an hour. Now, what if you are an entrepreneur? You can maybe start a mobile business. You can have, say, a van as a mobile spa, or dog grooming, or dog running service, or a bookstore, whatever it is. Now, over at Komando.com, we have links to more tips on how you can use your house, your bike, or your brain to make some cash. You just want to search for make money. And then we have links to all of these that I just mentioned as well. So put that car to use, yes, and have it make some money for you. Think of it. It'd be like maybe just starting a holiday Christmas fund or something like that. I had so much fun. I have to tell you this the other day, is that I got a chance to work on our Etsy shop. So if you're looking for Kim Komando Show merchandise, we have backpacks, earbud covers, and of course, T-shirts and hats. There's really a cool black denim type of hat that I put together. I think you're really going to love. We even have like a grilling apron. So if you're a Kim Komando fan, or if you know one, if you're looking for merch, head over to kimkomando.etsy.com. Once again, that's kimkomando.etsy.com. We also have some funny T-shirts with some slogans like, I put myself into airplane mode. And if there's something that you'd like to see in our Etsy shop, go ahead and drop me a note right there. That's kimkomando.etsy.com. All right, back to the phones we go with Joan in Michigan.
I'm concerned about the Temu app.
Okay. It's called.
When I read on your website, it said it gets your name, address, phone number, birthday photos, IP address, GPS location, browsing. It goes on and on.
Yeah, it does. It's pronounced Temu, by the way.
Oh, okay.
That's all right. It's called Temu, and it collects a lot of information. They say that the company's based in Boston by PTT Holdings, which is really headquartered in China. So everything's going back to China. And it's also part of a whole e-commerce platform called Pinduoduo. And they gain access to everything that's on your phone. So if you put Temu on your phone because you want to save some bucks and buy some cheap junk from China, that you can do that. But just know that you're giving up your voice print, your face print, text messages, your photos, your IP address.
Yeah, I read
contacts.
all that in your letter. I read all of it. So what do I do now?
Did you delete the app?
Yes.
Okay. So once you delete the app, you may think like, okay, I'm done. China has everything that they have and I don't have to worry about it again. But if there's one thing that we know about dealing with the Chinese government is that they can't be trusted, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So even though you deleted the Temu app from your phone and you think that you totally removed it, and I know it's a big royal pain in the butt to do this, but you really need to do a whole factory reset because you don't really know. I don't really know. I don't even know if Apple really knows if, in fact, everything is truly removed off of that phone when you remove the app. Because, again, we're dealing with communist China. We're dealing with enemies of the United States of America. So once you put this Temu app on your phone, everything's all gone and you remove it. But who's to say that the Chinese didn't leave a little something behind so that this way they could keep that little track and going, which I believe that they probably would. Okay, so that's why I know it's a pain to back up your phone, make a full backup so this way you can restore it, and you want to do a full factory reset. So this way we're just going to wipe everything out but you can still get back your photos and your videos and good stuff like that when you sync up to the cloud. And if you need help on doing a factory reset, we have the steps over at komando.com. With a K, of course, that's KOMANDO.com. Hey, speaking of Chinese apps, if you have file recovery and data recovery or file manager on your Android device, I just want you to know, been exposed this past week that all the data that you have there is being sent right back to China. And combined, they have like 1.5 million downloads. Once again, it's file recovery and data recovery and file manager. Let's see who's up next. Cheryl in Maine.
Hi, this is very nice to speak with you.
Well, thank you.
I've listened to you for years. So my question is, I signed up for Starlink, which I love. It works so much better than anything else I've had here. But I'm getting advertisements when I'm streaming something from New York. And I live in Maine. I'm used to my advertisements for Maine and not New York. So I just wondering if there's some way to get rid of these.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens because Starlink has something called a POP. It's called a point of presence. And that's actually where Starlink, your internet connection provided via satellite, is going to be talking to a ground station and then get that signal over to you there in Maine. So obviously that ground station is in New York. So that's why it says, oh, Cheryl is a native New Yorker and she wants to know about Chompy's Bagels and Katz's Deli and all that other good stuff. Yeah, I didn't have lunch today, Cheryl. So that's why I'm a little hungry here, but that's okay. So a way to stop this would be to use a VPN. And of course, ExpressVPN is the VPN of choice here at the Kim Komando Show. It's one that I use. I recommend. Use my name, Kim. You get 3 months free. And it's really easy to use. And I know a lot of people, Cheryl, whenever I say VPN, they're like, oh, no, gosh, it's going to be hard to set up. No, it's not. Just hit one button and you connect. Really super easy. Then the other thing they say to me, Cheryl's like, oh, it's going to slow me down. I'm like, nope. That used to be the way it is. And it will slow you down if you use these free VPNs, by the way. So that's why you need to pay for some things in life. And this is something very much worthwhile. So again, you're going to go to expressvpn.com/Kim. Once again, that's expressvpn.com/Kim. And you're going to use promo code Kim because you get that 3 extra months free. Yes, Starlink pops. Sometimes they can be really, really annoying, especially when you want to see those local ads. I want to see what's happening in my hometown. And once again, Cheryl, thanks for your call. Hey, speaking of Starlink, for the best Starlink experience, you always want to make sure that that dish is placed in a location with a clear view of the sky. It needs to see as much of the sky as possible. So you don't want to have any obstructions like trees and buildings and other structures. So remember, the better the view, the better that Starlink is going to operate. All right, why take one great photo of a meal when you can take 10 or 20, right? We're all overwhelmed with duplicate photos, so how do we get rid of them? All right, let's start with Windows, and then I'm going to cover Android, and then finally for our Mac listeners. Now, if you're working on a Windows PC, there's a free program called CCleaner. It will help you locate and delete similar photos, and it also works for other file types too. Now, if you're on Android, you want to check out something called Gallery Doctor. It automatically finds and deletes duplicate photos, freeing up storage space on your device. Now, for Mac owners, this is really great. The latest iOS update to Photos automatically finds duplicate photos and videos right in your photo library. And you're going to find it under Albums. There's a folder that says Duplicates. Voila. Oh my gosh. I had over 3,200 duplicate photos. So embarrassed to say that. Anyway, if you need those names again, just hit the website and be sure to tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show and our podcast because knowledge is power. And you can find me always at komando.com.
Here is hour 3.
Let's kick things off with something fun. Now, imagine if you won the lottery. What would you do with all that cash? Now you can get a lotto ticket all from the comfort of your home. That's right. In some states, it's legal for you to actually buy tickets online through an app. You have to use an app like Jackpocket or Lotto.com. Here's how they work. They buy official tickets for you from authorized retailers all over the world. And then you can choose from a wide range of lotteries like Powerball or Mega Millions. Now, the apps don't charge any monthly subscription fees, sign-up fees, or any fees if you win. Now, the only costs you can expect are service fees to fund your account. Then they're going to actually secure your physical ticket while giving you a digital copy of that ticket within the app. And by the way, if you can't afford to pay for one of those online DNA kits, just post on your social media accounts that you won the lottery, and in minutes, you're going to find out who all your relatives really are. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gents, to the Kim Komando Show. It's the largest, it's the biggest, it's the best show about all things digital. I'm, of course, Kim Komando, here with you once again. And you can catch my award-winning show on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And if streaming is more your style, just want to search for Komando in your much-loved radio app, and there you're going to find me there. And if you're in the mood for a break and you want a fancy podcast, head over to komando.com, and you want to keep an eye out for that bright yellow button that says the Komando Community, and click that and you can have a seamless commercial-free experience. And a big hello goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries who are joining us on the American Forces Network Radio. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just a reminder, you can always drop me your questions right on the website. I read every single note that you guys and gals send me. Just hit that button that says Email Kim. All right, every single day I check out at least 30 different websites to make sure that we are both up to date on everything that's happening in the tech world. And here are 5 things that you need to know right now. And contrary to popular belief, you should not fall asleep when you're driving your Tesla. That's right. To drive your Tesla on autopilot, you have to keep your hands on the wheel. Then the car has some alerts to make sure that you're paying attention. If you ignore the alerts, the system disengages, and then you have to go back to driving your car the old-fashioned way with your hands on the wheel and your foot on the gas and the brake. But drivers of Teslas, they figured out a cheap trick. What they're doing is that they're buying inexpensive steering wheel weights that they're finding on Amazon.com. The Washington Post says that these weights are sold under the radar as phone holders or tools to relieve shoulder pain. But that's not the case. They're made so that Tesla drivers can take their hands off of the wheel and trick the car into thinking that they're paying attention when it's on full self-driving mode. Now, as a consumer who purchased a Tesla and used it on full self-driving mode, I almost crashed into a parked truck, a motorcycle, blew through a stop sign, and ended up in a ditch. And so if you have a Tesla and you think that, oh, this is just great, I'm going to trick the system by putting some weights attached to the steering wheel so this way I can take a nap while I'm going down the freeway, don't be a moron. Don't be that person. You might not just hurt yourself, but other people in the process. Moving on to number 2, some Google Calendar enhancements came out this past week. We use it all the time here at the Komando Radio Ranch. And first up, you can now schedule paid appointments with Google Calendars. That means if you're a yoga teacher and you want to make some money by doing remote yoga classes or in person, you can do it directly with Google at no cost. Yes, I said Google is not going to be charging you. All you have to do is start accepting payments through Google Calendar, connect your Stripe account to it, and whether you're a regular user or an admin in a workspace, you can connect, set your own cancellation and refund policies, and Google has no say in that. So why is Google doing this for free? Well, because of competition out there, and also, data tracking. Yeah, we both know that. Next, they also made it easier for us to schedule meetings because there's nothing more annoying and aggravating than that email string going back and forth, right? Saying, is Tuesday good for you? No, I can't do Tuesday, but I can do Wednesday. I can't do Wednesday, but I can do Friday. Okay, we're into next week. Yeah, okay, so now you can offer free times for your guests right through the invite. Number 3 in our list of 5 things that you need to know. This is really something. I read about this in the Washington Post. I'm trying to get the writer of this story on this show with us because we print a lot of stuff, right? Legal documents, tax papers, job offers. Well, popular printing products and services, they don't really promise to keep what you print with them confidential. Like Canon. Their privacy policy says that they can collect all sorts of stuff from you, your files, your images, your descriptions, even your metadata. And they don't come clean about whether they share that content of the documents you print and what they do with that. So the Washington Post also found that when you print a document at FedEx, UPS, or Staples, that you really have to read the fine print. Their policies say that they can use whatever you print for advertising or share it with unnamed third parties. Whoa, right? FedEx's printing services policy mentions collecting user uploaded information. And if you print your stuff at Staples, they can store personal data, including copy and print materials. Okay. Does the data tracking ever stop? Nope. All right, moving on to number 4. If you're in the market for an EV, listen up, because there's been this major push for all of us to buy an electric car. And so the manufacturer said, oh, we better start making EVs. Okay. Many dealerships have a backlog of 92 days, 3 months worth of EVs just ready to sell. They used to struggle to keep these EVs in stock, but not anymore. Take the Ford Mach-E. When it was first released in 2022, more than 80% of the inventory sold within the first 30 days. Now, that number dropped to 27%, even as they doubled all the inventory. A report from Autoblog Mag says that Ford's targeting EV production of 600,000 vehicles this year. Whoa, that's crazy. They're losing $58,000 on every EV it sells. Isn't that just ridiculous? They must be getting government subsidies. That's the only thing I was thinking. But what this means to you, if you want an EV, you may be able to go down to the dealership and negotiate a smoking deal. And finally, this, coming in at number 5, this is incredible to me. I mean, if there's anything that I hate doing when you get off a flight is going down, getting your luggage, and then going to get that rental car. Well, imagine if you could get the car delivered to you. Well, I know you can do that now, but this one has a twist, a tech twist. It's called the Halo car. So as you get settled into your hotel, Airbnb, Vrbo, whatever it is that you can go on the website, go on the app, and you say, yeah, okay, I would like to rent Hyundai or whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden the car gets delivered to you. There's nobody in the car. Somebody at Halo's HQ is actually piloting the car to get it to you. And then when you're there, you open the car up by using the app. There's probably a QR code or something like that. But isn't that crazy? Again, it's only happening in Las Vegas right now. You know, Sin City, we all know, is Las Vegas. But do you know what Den City is? Do you know what Den City is? Mass over volume. That's right. A little math trick for you. Hey, I love to get your questions. And if you're just too shy to come on the show, you know what you need to do? Just email me your questions. It's so easy. Just head over to komando.com. So make sure that while you're there, you get the free newsletters. How about we start with Barry in North Carolina? Hi there, Barry.
I had gotten a divorce, and I got the house in the settlement. My wife was kind of angry, and she was friends with some of the neighbors. And so now unusual things have been happening in my house, namely that my air conditioner kind of comes on at these really bizarre random times. When I talk to my new girlfriend, it comes on. And it's timed for these like little specific times when I'm doing things like with her. Also, my emails are starting to get, unusual, I guess you could say. And so I was just calling to find out how can I, kind of reel this in and protect myself.
Well, yeah, it's nerve-wracking, I bet, for sure, right?
A little. Yeah.
All right, so first of all, I just got to tell you, like a Nest thermostat going on and off at weird times might seem unusual, but that's how they work, is that it's a learning thermostat. So it's not uncommon for it to start adjusting settings on its own, okay? So It learns from your behaviors, your preferences, when you're at home, when you're not at home. And so it can create this automatic cooling and heating schedule. And it may not necessarily be a hack. I just want to put that out there, that within your Nest thermostat settings, that there is a place for you to do a whole reset. So it will forget every schedule that it ever learned. And so you can start from scratch. So that's the first thing I would do. Okay. And while you're there, change the password, If you can set up, I don't know how old it is, you can set up any type of two-factor authentication on the Nest account. Do that as well.
I will.
Now, when you guys split up and you got the house, did you change the router?
No. I have the same router. The same router.
So what I want you to do is do a factory reset on the router.
Gotcha.
And so this way we're going to cut off any paths inside that house that she may have. Okay. And so you also want to change the name of the Wi-Fi network and also change the Wi-Fi password. Now, like you said, she's friends with the neighbors, and who knows if she's going over the neighbor's house or whatever it is. There are ways that you can actually hide the Wi-Fi network. So instead of it saying like, this LAN is my LAN, or the name of my network is FBI surveillance van, just because I thought that was funny, is that unless somebody actually knows the name of the network, they don't even see it. So it depends how far you want to take this. Okay. But conceptually, if you haven't changed the password to the router, and if maybe some remote access was turned on the router, then she can still have a full path in there. So that's why we want to make sure that we reset the whole router. If the router's old, maybe it's worth buying a new one at this point. But if you don't need to, just make sure you do a whole factory reset and change the password and do all that other good stuff. Okay.
Okay, I could do that.
Now, about your email, what's strange in there?
I'm getting emails that they tell me the exact things in my house, where they are, and it's kind of, like you said, unnerving, because I'll pick something up, I'll put it down, then I'll get kind of a quick email that says, hey, it's, in such and such or it'll suggest that it's in such and such a place. And I'm like, I didn't tell anybody. There's nobody here.
Or I'm sorry, you put something down, like a cup of coffee or what?
Yeah, so I would have like a specific bottle of like shaving cream. So I would pick it up, put it down, and then suddenly I'd get, like I'd check my email quite a bit for work, and I would get suggestions on my email that, hey, you're, like Old Spice or whatever it was is now in such and such a corner or something like that.
Ooh, that is weird. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. So you need to look for some hidden cameras too.
How would you go about it?
Well, I will tell you, the Wi-Fi cameras may be working on your wireless network that's connected to the router. So what you could do is, before you do the whole factory reset, is that there are some apps that will map out what's connected to the wireless network. And so it'll tell you how many devices are on the wireless network. And then you start counting how many you have. And then you're like, oh, well, there's 3 that I can't account for here. And it's not the Ring doorbell, and it's not the smart refrigerator. Must be something else. Okay. So that's one way. The other way is you just walk around a room with a flashlight, look for any lens reflections. And then there's also some little gadgets called an RF detector that we have links to these over at Commando that you can buy on Amazon. It will tell you if there's any wireless things. But here's the deal, is if all those cameras are working on that router and on that network, then when you reset that router, all of that's going to go hasta la vista. Okay. That's assuming that the wifey didn't put the cameras hooked up to the neighbor's wireless network.
Oh my God.
Okay. So that's why, you got some trouble here in River City that you've got to start taking a look. But the whole thing with the shaving cream, the Nest thermostat, I'm like, well, maybe that's just the Nest. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Having the shaving cream, somebody sent me an email that, you just moved the Old Spice from the left side to the right side. That's weird to me.
It's getting bizarre like that.
Yeah. So that's why there's probably, I don't know, there's probably some hidden camera somewhere, and then it's going to be, up to you to go around, or you can always hire a professional to come out and take a look to see if there's anything lurking in the bathroom or anywhere else. And you also might want to consider, I don't know the laws for the state of North Carolina, but you might want to consider some legal action too, because, putting cameras where somebody has a reasonable right to privacy, i.e. a bathroom, I have to guess is against a lot of laws. But again, I would consult somebody who's familiar with your intellectual property rights and legal aspects of this in North Carolina. We have links to these over at the website at komando.com. And Barry, if you need any other help afterwards, just give me a call back. I'm here for you. I still say that Nest was not a hack. It was a feature. And joining us right now is our amazing content queen, Ali Seligman. Hello there, Ali.
Hi, Kim.
So I know we're going to be talking about mispronounced words.
We are.
Okay. How do you pronounce Quinoa? How do you pronounce that?
Quinoa.
Okay. It's not quinoa?
No, it is not quinoa.
Quinoa. That's what Barry says. Okay. It's espresso, not espresso.
Oh, that one hurts me every time I hear it.
Okay. How about this one? This is you might have to think about this one.
Okay.
HYPERBOLE.
Hyperbole.
Not hyperbole.
No.
Okay. It's not a hyperbole.
No.
A lot of people say that. So you've put together a list of tech mispronunciations, right?
Yes. So we've got a list. This is from an electronics company. They're called SimpleGar. They put together basically what are the words that people say wrong over and over. And they got this data by people basically typing in, how do I say? Or, pronunciation of whatever. We are going to go through some of these. I am sure that you, Kim, but you listening, are going to hear something and think, oh my gosh, I have been saying this wrong forever. I feel so stupid, but it's okay. Now you know better. And I don't know. I always feel like if someone says something wrong in front of me and we're close enough, I'm going to tell them.
It's kind of like if somebody has like something in their tooth.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would rather them feel silly in front of me than say it in front of 100 people.
All
like
right.
Barry and his quinoa. Okay.
Quinoa. Yes.
Quinoa. Let's start with some basic consumer tech terms. This is an operating system. I say it as Linux. What about you, Kim?
I say Linux.
Yeah, not everybody does because this is the number one.
Is it?
Mispronounced. Yes. I bet people say Linux.
Oh, yes. Or Linux.
Linux, sure.
Like Kleenex, Linux.
Oh, yeah. Sure, Kleenex. Mm-hmm. Next on the list, I have a hard time saying one is right or wrong. Certainly I have a preference, but I think this is one where, people are going to battle it out. Kim, do you say GIF or GIF?
I say GIF. I do.
I say GIF. I'm glad we represent both sides of it
yes.
here. As our IT genius John has told me 1 million times, the creator of this file type said it's GIF.
Yes.
I respectfully disagree.
It's because it's a G, like gift, GIF, right? It should be that, GIF. Okay, now let me ask you one.
Okay.
Because I get email from people every once in a while, and they'll say, Kim Komando, you're mispronouncing this word. Okay. DATA.
Oh, this is a tough one. I think this is another one where it's really your preference. I think I'm a data person.
I'm a data person too, but but people tell me I should say dot or DAH, like data.
Data. I can see data, but
data
or data.
Data, not data. Whatever.
I'll accept either.
Yeah.
I think those people have too much time on their hands if they're emailing you with that. This is, I guess, not that shocking. It's on the top mispronounced list because in other countries they say this differently. Wi-Fi. Here we say Wi-Fi. In some places they say wifey. They say weefy. I unfortunately can't take anyone saying weefy seriously, so let's stick with Wi-Fi.
Yeah, like weefy. It's like that should be like a Nerf gun or something like that,
or a Nintendo game.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
better yet.
Oh, I have heard someone say this wrong in real life, and I cringed deeply, but held it in. Meme is the correct pronunciation. It is not Mimi.
Mimi.
It is not mem.
Mem. I've heard mem.
Yeah, I've heard them all, and it's meme.
Meme.
Once and for all. Okay, when you are clearing out the blank on your computer, it's not the cache.
It's not.
Cache sounds like a name. No, it's the cache.
Cache.
I know extra letters, but it's just the cache. Okay, this one, you might be, I don't know, getting yourself confused with this because there's a couple ways to do it. It's all caps SQL. Now, this is a computer term. You might see it and think like, what the heck do I do with that? You have two options. You can say the letters, and that's fine, SQL. You can also say SQL. Anything else, don't.
No. SQL.
Yeah.
Yes.
This list also contains, I love this, a bunch of tech companies. And there's one that I'm going to poke fun at you about, Kim, because I know you don't say it very well. But
oh, no.
Yeah.
Nice.
First on the list, though, is Samsung. And I can't figure out, like, how are people saying Samsung wrong?
Samsung.
Samsung. Okay. So the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yes.
There. Okay. Next on the list is Huawei. We know this one because my old phone was a Huawei, because you have told me my way or the Huawei a million times. The one that, Kim, I know I've heard you say, how do I even say that, is Xiaomi.
Oh, yes.
It's a tough
Xiaomi.
one. It's Xiaomi. And that's just not something we have in English. It's a Chinese word. So I'll give you a pass on that.
Xiaomi. I'll remember that now.
Yes. Now, we were going over this list, our IT geniuses, and we came up with some more that weren't on this list, but I bet a lot of people say wrong, and I've heard people say wrong. On your computer, you can flash the BIOS. It is not the BIOS. It's not the BIOS. And I get it. It's confusing. It's all caps. It's BIOS, but that is BIOS.
Now, there's a line in there, because how do you tell if somebody's a nerd or there's an influencer?
Lincoln BIOS.
Yes.
That's good. That's a good one. Okay, this one. So wireless chargers, there's a standard called QI. Do you know how to say that, Kim? I just learned this one.
QI? I just say QI.
No, it's Qi.
Qi?
Yeah. Again, this is a Chinese term. So we don't have this in English. It's Qi. Who knew? This one's not wrong, but it makes me laugh. In British English, do you know how they say router?
No.
Router.
Router? Yeah. Like rotor rooter?
Yes, exactly like that. Yes. Okay, and we'll finish up with a really dorky one. This is another operating system, a version of Linux, I believe. It's not Ubuntu. It's not how else would you say that one wrong?
Ubuntu or Ubuntu.
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 Yeah. Yes, and this one is Ubuntu.
Yes.
So if you ever see that, it's the word with way too many U's in it.
Yeah, Ubuntu.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay, I have one.
Okay.
How would you pronounce this? PSEUDOCODE. So PSEUDOCODE.
Pseudocode?
Yes, pseudocode. But some people, I've heard them pronounce it like Pstudio code.
Oh, PS is never never, ever, ever.
It's like Pstudio. I'm like, what is you talking about? What is that? Where'd that come from?
Oh, another, not a tech word, but another one that I hear wrong quite often. Foliage. It is foliage. It is not foliage. It is, I know that there's that I in there. It looks like foil. It's foliage. I promise
like
you.
Spoilage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Just
foliage.
like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one more I'm going to leave you with.
Okay.
What did Super Mario's French teacher say when Mario mispronounced the word for friend? What did Super Mario's French teacher say when Mario mispronounced the word for friend? It's Hami Mario. I know, that was bad.
Beautiful.
All right, so I'm certain that we're going to put all these up sometime on the website or in our newsletters because you don't want to miss our newsletter. Tell them why they just need to get the newsletters already.
Because in less than 5 minutes a day, you can read this thing and you know what is going on in the tech world. You also read a lot of stuff that will make your friends, your boss, your family, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, the person on Tinder think you are way smarter. And yeah, you don't have anything to lose. Plus, it's free.
Yes. It's free. It's absolutely free. That's right. So you want to sign up right now over at getkim.com. That's getkim.com. That was fun. That was fun, Allie. Good job.
That was fun.
All right. Think about your email address, right? You just can't just go willy-nilly and handing it out, because before you know it, you're just overloaded with all this spam. So there are some ways that you can still keep your email address and keep it private, but still sign up for things. Like, for example, with Gmail. Gmail has its own way of keeping your email address hidden by using aliases. And the way that it works is that you have your username at gmail.com. So you could say your username, put a plus sign, and then whatever it is. So maybe it's the Komando newsletters, or maybe it's an app, or whatever you're signing up for, some freebie across the web. And see, when you get the mail in Gmail, anything after that plus sign, Google just ignores. But here's the smart thing, is you can set up filters. So if it's plus Komando newsletters, they all go into the Komando newsletter folder. And then at some point, it's not going to be us, maybe it's an app, where they sell your email address, you know exactly who it is, because suddenly you start getting email with that particular address. So again, the whole way to do it is you put your email address and then plus and then whatever it is at gmail.com when you're signing up. Now, Apple has something called Hide My Email, and I've been using this a lot. It's really super easy. And when you have it enabled, it can actually just give you an iCloud address that you can use temporarily. Then there are also ways that you can get burner addresses, and there's also something called IronVest that will also hide any email. It costs $6 a month, but I don't know if you really need it, because you can just use that Gmail trick that I was telling you about. For links to all of this, just hit the website over at komando.com. All right, Brian in Orlando, Florida.
Hi, Kim, and thank you for being so kind and taking the call and helping all of us in the electronic tech community to learn and do better. Thank you so much.
Oh, my honor and my pleasure, Brian. After all, I don't know a lot about finance, so I definitely don't want to do that. Okay. Big stock picks is not my idea of a good time at all. So how can I lend a hand?
Well, I've been hearing these reports around the country about lithium battery fires, and I heard about that bike shop in New York where people died. It's very concerning to me, when we have electronic equipment and batteries and bikes and scooters and things like that. And I heard that these fires are hard to put out, so you have to be really cautious. Even the firefighters say they got to put a lot of water on it, and home fire extinguishers can't put them out. So I heard that a solution maybe to charge your batteries safely is to get a timer so you don't overcharge them, overheat them. But I'm wondering, is there a particular type of timer that might be better than others for this function or quality, or would they all be about the same, and having a timer is better than having no timer?
Well, very good point. I'm glad that you gave me a call. Yes, tragedy in that fire in New York. And e-bikes are going on fire, and they are very difficult to put out because some of these have really big honking batteries. And the worst thing that you can do is just keep that e-bike charging all the time. And a lot of people do that. They do that, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they get home, they plug it in, and then they figure, well, I'm going to ride it tomorrow, the next day, and they forget to unplug it. And then that could lead to the battery overheating, and then obviously potentially starting a fire. Okay. So the getting a smart plug with a timer is a really good idea, because these can be programmed to turn off after a set amount of time. So you're going to plug in your e-bike. You're going to say in an hour, it's just going to automatically turn off. You can do that remotely with a smartphone app, so that this way you don't have to sit there and get off your butt and, if you forget that you're driving around like, oh gosh, I forgot to turn the bike off, that you can go ahead and just do that on your phone. You want to take a look at brands like TP-Link and Belkin. They're available over on Amazon. And you might remember, if you don't want to go the whole smartphone way, is that you might remember long time ago, we had those little mechanical dials, those switches.
Right. Okay. Yes, the simple ones.
Okay. You can use those. We used to use them to control lights, but they can also be used to turn off after a certain amount of time where you think that device is fully charged. And so, but, because we all have our phones, it just seems to make more sense that you're going to look at a smart plug with a timer functionality. Again, you can use your smartphone. Actually, you can even use your voice, because it's going to be all tied into your whole system. So you can just say, Alexa, turn off the battery on my bike in the garage. But, big rule of thumb, whatever you do, don't keep that e-bike plugged in all the time, 24/7. That's a big no-no. That's a big danger. Okay, here's a fun fact for all of you with electric bikes. If you're not going to be using your e-bike for a while, how much charge should you leave on that battery so that it doesn't degrade? Is it 25%, 50%, 75, or 100%? Okay, you know the answer? Okay, how much charge should you leave on that e-bike battery? Okay, the answer is 50%. So anywhere between, they say 40 and 60% is best. And you want to keep your e-bike's battery in a cool, dry place, not fully charged, not totally empty. And the worst thing that you can do is keep that e-bike plugged in all the time. Not only is it bad for the battery, but it's a good way to start a fire. All right, here's the deal. A VPN puts a layer of protection between you and the internet. And your PC isn't the only thing that's connected to the internet, right? Your TV is too. Now, there are a ton of benefits to tacking a VPN onto it. Like you can watch movies that aren't available in your area. You see, when a VPN assigns you a new IP address, it can be used to spoof your location to anywhere its servers are located. So you can use that VPN to say, I want to be in France, or I want to be in Britain or Australia. And so you suddenly have this whole new range of content available to you. Now, it also keeps your internet service provider from collecting all your data, your location history, your TV habits, your search history, and even the contents of your emails. It's all collected by your internet service providers. So ExpressVPN is the recommended VPN of choice here on the Kim Komando Show. So if you go to expressvpn.com/Kim, you're going to get 3 extra months free. Once again, that's expressvpn.com/Kim. Hey, thanks for joining us. Make sure you tell a few friends about the show, and you can find me at komando.com.